Well, hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to the War Room. It is Friday, August 23rd, and that's what you're watching, the War Room. If you've seen the best episodes of the War Room, you already know who I am, AgYield's marketing manager and everyone's favorite backup host, Jack Coakley, filling in for Dan today again. Let's start as we normally do. If you want to join the discussion, join the discussion. Go ahead and post a comment anywhere you see fit, whatever platform you are viewing us from. And you can always reach out to us at info@agyield.com. Let's shoot it over to Rylan with some overnight numbers.
Thanks, Jack. Yeah, mixed action overnight. We had SEP corn up 3/4 of a cent at 3.72 1/4. D's corn 3.93 1/2, unchanged. The beans we were up a little bit here. SEP 9.45 1/4, up 4, and Novi beans 9.65 1/4, up 3 3/4, and wheat 5.31 3/4. That was down 3 3/4. Indices, stock market looks like we're up a little bit this morning. We got the Dow up 195, S&P's up 35, and NASDAQ up 195. So a little bit firmer in the stock market to start this morning.
Excellent. Well, thanks for that. Let's start things off with some of the comments and questions we've been getting overnight. Thank you for those who are watching, post broadcast, leaving some comments. We always appreciate to hear from our audience here. We got a question overnight from Mr. Hoff Run. How much old grain crops are still unsold? God, wouldn't that be nice to know? Justin, I will cue it up to you, and we can move it around the room and discuss it in more detail.
Yeah, really tough question to answer. Obviously, there's a 2 billion, call it 2 billion plus or minus carry in from old crop. How much of that's left unpriced is tough. I think we've seen a lot of those supplies being moved to make storage capacity available for the new crop that's coming in or about to be harvested. So we've definitely seen a lot of movement, heard of a lot of movement. We've heard of, commercial elevators being asked by growers if they could, the grain that is on commercial storage, can they also, roll that to the December contract? So again, it's kind of an impossible question to answer. I understand the point of the question. That's a tough one. Kind of, at the end of the day, you're going to have, call it 16 plus billion bushels between the new crop that you're carrying in, or the old crop that you're carrying in and the new crop that you're harvesting, right? You're going to have roughly 16 billion bushels. So I think that's what's ultimately going to pressure whether you sell it or roll it or it's new crop or old crop. Those bushels all get commingled around harvest every year. So, it's going to be the available supply, in October, and, how much storage space is available in the area. I think that's why we've seen spreads, weaken or widen as we go into this period. So you're seeing a combination. I think you're seeing old crop bushels being priced. We'll probably see it all the way through October 1st, where those bushels continue to get priced as cash flow is needed, as storage space is needed. So I guess that's my answer.
I'll take it. It's a better answer than I would have had. I was going to say just 12 and see if it satiated him, but Yeah. Anyway, Dustin, what else is on your mind as we put a bow on the end of the week?
Just not to sound like a broken record, we're still, in the wake of the end of the 2023 crop year, and a lot of times that's got some negative pressure on it. It's not just the bushels that are getting delivered, it's all the paper positions that are mounting up, as we're kind of talking about there. So still think that could be a pressure on the market that manifests itself in the next week. You get into September, it could get a little bit more interesting just because you no longer have that, that immediate pressure in the market, but you still have a huge crop coming in. More than likely, especially around these river delivery points. And so, my focus is on the spreads. I mean, what happens, for, D's 24 contract versus March 25, for example. How does that spread handle all of this extra volume? So that's really what I'm watching. The dollar index, we've got Jackson Hole, a lot of movement in the currencies lately. That's something to watch out for if you see any big moves on announcements. And they've been talking about potentially like a surprise early rate cut, kind of signaling the end of this hiking cycle. That could actually happen right now, earlier than the quarterly release. So it's something to watch out for in the currency. Yesterday we had the dollar up pretty good and the Brazilian real down, and I think that was a big part of that soybean weakness. I mean, it immediately puts us back at a disadvantage when we see that type of a move, for our current competitive price with Brazil. So, there's a lot of things that are just simply out of traders' control. So I go back to like, well, where is your individual risk as a grower, and what's the best balance we can take with that risk? That's my approach. I'm really kind of indifferent on where things should be, at least for the next 60 to 90 days, so we get through harvest pressure. After that, when we get a little bit better estimate of where the crop size is, maybe there's some brighter skies ahead just as you get past all that pressure. But it's probably going to be a weak harvest. So.
No.
Yeah, I'll just add to that real quick. Yesterday's a good example, right? We had really good export sales, right? We had a huge week in corn and beans, and we did a bunch of daily announcements like we talked about yesterday in the show. And the real was down sharply, and we sold off hard. We're 3 cents off contract lows in corn, or we're there in beans. So part of that was U.S. corn was the most competitive in the world, and then you have a currency move, and all of a sudden it's not, right? And this is similar to what we saw like in the wheat, in the wheat market, and we would get U.S. wheat would be the cheapest in the world. Well, no one ever bought it, and we broke $5 a bushel, right? So that's the really tough part about the world being so competitive on these exports now. We are kind of the residual supplier of exports. So it's really hard for us to get cheap enough to compete with some of these countries, especially when you factor in currency moves that can change on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. It's really hard to figure out where we find value. So we did see good sales, but immediately, currencies can move a little bit, and all of a sudden you're not competitive. It's a tough competitive market against some of these countries right now, and we have a lot of supplies. So that's the hard part.
No, certainly. Jason, we bring you on every now and then to talk a little bit about observations you have on in Northwest Illinois and things of that nature. Any observations to mention there, and if not, what's just kind of going through your head as you're talking to guys throughout the week?
Sure. Yeah. Nothing new to add. Right. We've had the Pro Farmer Crop Tour in Illinois. Right. We've seen some really good yields. Obviously, Northern Illinois. I've been talking about it. Right. It probably couldn't be more of a perfect growing season in Northern Illinois. We got it planted at a good time, and we've had just steady rain almost all year. Now we got cool temps, caught some more rain. I mean, it's the biggest potential in Northern Illinois as far as yield goes that we've probably ever seen. So, and we're getting, we've looked at our own fields, we've done our own yield checks on our crops, and they're going to be a record. Just how big, it's tough. What's that? What's the fill? It's going to be, good test weights. It's got good stands. It's got everything you could hope for. So, yeah, Northern Illinois is going to be, a really big crop. As far as old crop goes, right? We said we've, been moving a lot of old crop recently. You can see it, right? I drive a lot across Northern Illinois every week, and you see grain trucks moving constantly down the interstate, down the roads. You drive by a grain bin site, they're filling up semis. So that's a big part of what's going on in the market right now. A lot of old crop moving.
Excellent. Yeah. Any other grain related conversation before I shoot it over to Ryland?
Well, I can jump in really quick, just because I just wanted to mention the Pro Farmer did conclude yesterday, and it looked like They went through Minnesota, and it looked like corn yields were definitely pretty disappointing, right around 164.9 bushels per acre. Last year, they were at like 181.3. So we're going to get those pro farmer numbers after the close today, their final yield numbers. So just, for anybody who's listening, we'll be commenting that on Monday.
Good to know. God, Ryland, stay in your lane.
Sorry. Yeah, I know. I didn't mean to throw anybody for a loop. But
I was talking about the Packers. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we can go right into the meats now. Sorry, everybody. Meat markets, a little bit of strength in the cattle. We did see some good short covering. I think open interest reflected that to some degree here. Open interest was down 351. In the live side, feeders was down 517. So you got the cattle on feed report that's coming up. I don't think just overall, the numbers kind of come in line. I don't think that's going to shock too much. July also had 2 extra business days that I think is going to kind of influence those placement and marketing numbers and why there's a little bit higher, I think, than most would expect, or at least the percentages up year over year. So we'll see what they say. They're expecting on feed at 100, placements 104, and marketing's 108. So we'll see how that comes out. But right now, it seems like the cattle market's trying to take a pause, kind of factored in most of the lower cash trade. I mean, dress sales were down 3 to 4 from last week in the north at like 294, 293-ish. Most of the southern trade kind of took place at 183. So that was two lower in the south. So we're starting to see that convergence with August right before expiration here. So the focus is really going to be in the discount in October and if it's a little bit too wide or not based on what we know. But the market's definitely kind of signaling that cash could come down pretty good, which, post Labor Day, I think there's overall that there's that little bit of an expectation that we're going to kind of just drift beef prices lower, that we've rationed demand enough, that we're kind of peak seasonal demand. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. Beef prices were up a little bit yesterday, but overall, I think the focus is really just going to be on the report, kind of going into next week. Hog market exploded yesterday. New highs for the move. You've seen, I think, quite an uptick in just the sentiment that demand's going to really improve here going into Labor Day. It just seems like we're pretty fairly priced relative to beef right now on the hog side of things. We did see a little bit of a $1.30 appreciation in cash. So overall, the news has been pretty good. Cutout was up, belly's up, ham's up. So overall, it just kind of seemed like you actually had some new buying here. I mean, open interest was up 5,000, 5,200 contracts yesterday. So we're seeing that commitment kind of come back here. And seasonally, August 24th is a big day in the hog section, or in the hog sector, just because usually you see futures and sometimes even carry through into October expiration. So we'll see if that continues.
Well, thank you for that, Ryland. It is Fun Fact Friday, as we're all aware of, and let's tee up Brian. Here
not only aware of, but look forward to. Jay.
Look forward to. Yeah. We're
All right, pressure's on.
Brian, take it away.
All right, thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it. We are entering into pumpkin harvest season. So any of our growers online watching right now, if you're looking for a challenge, a Tennessee farmer grew almost 1,000-pound pumpkin. It took him about 4 years to grow that. He ended up hollowing it out and turning it into a boat and took it on his nearby pond and went for a little bit of a spin there. So if you're looking for a challenge, I'm thinking maybe an airplane. That would be the next thing I would think would be the next level up. If you're looking for a challenge.
You would deserve it if you tried to fly a pumpkin.
Yeah. I think they call that chunking.
Yeah. And I was wondering, how many pumpkin seeds would be in 1,000-pound pumpkin? 3.6 million. So Riley, you get your fix on pumpkin seeds if you're looking for that.
Finally.
So, yes. So there you go. Happy Friday, everybody.
Wow, that was something. So, if you love watching the show as much as we love creating it, please go ahead and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment. We love to hear from you guys. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. It helps us get the word out on AgYield. It helps you know when we're going live and any premium content we're releasing and things of that nature. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it means the world to us. So if you do it, we appreciate it. Beyond that, every day the markets are open. We're streaming live on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. Thanks again, everyone, for having me as the world's best backup host. Great discussions today. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And And we'll talk to you guys Monday morning at 8:15. Thanks, everyone.
The War Room is proudly presented by AgYield. For over 50 years, the AgYield team has provided grain marketing and risk management solutions for growers across the country. Our veteran consultants harness cutting-edge technologies to pinpoint risk, optimize market performance, and protect your farm's profitability. Discover a new approach to farm revenue management at agyield.com.
Hey guys, Jack here. Be sure to support the show by hitting the like button, leaving us a comment, and subscribing to the channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.